Yeah, big week for us. Play both the Michigan schools, one away, one at home, to finish up the regular season, and just got back from a game against the nationally ranked Penn State team that unfortunately we came out on the wrong end of. Late penalty kick, but hit the post a minute before. Sometimes that happens in soccer. We went from feeling like we could have won the game to losing it, and pleased with the guys' approach. We've had a tough beginning to the year. We got a couple good results last week. Tied Northwestern at their place, and then beat Ohio State, who was also nationally ranked at home at McClyman. And just hearing the other coaches, it is a blessing to be able to play. I think our players appreciate it, and for us, and I talked about this in our last press conference. Balancing of getting experience into some young players. We've been very fortunate to be able to do that. But also getting some guys that had long-term injuries. Some time, Patrick Yim played the first time really healthy in over 2 years for us. Noah Mielek has gotten plenty of games this spring coming off a concussion protocol. Tim Bialik, who also had multiple surgeries, being back available to play. So there's a lot of positives, and I'm very fortunate that the guys have realized how fortunate they are that the support of the Big Ten and, the NCAA, that we're playing games, meaningful games. And then the weather's cooperated. We weren't sure if we were going to be on McClyman at all this spring. It looks like we're going to be there for 2 games at least. And hopefully we could finish off the season with some strong performances.
Thanks, Coach. We'll move to questions. Again, if you'd like to ask a question, drop me a note in the chat. But we'll start with Paul.
Hey, Coach. Can you just talk about getting your freshmen in and young guys and all the injured guys back, and you can see on the field the difference from the start of the season to now. It's pretty clear, even someone who hasn't seen a lot of the game. Just talk about the progress you guys have made from your goalkeeper switching and everything else. It just seems like you guys have progressed a lot in just a month.
Yeah, I mean, most of our, I want to say, issues weren't really COVID related. It was more long-term injuries. And then we've also had a few injuries during the course of the season. We've lost our starting goalkeeper, Sven Kleinhans, but Carter Abbott, who is from Marquette High, who's a sophomore in the program, a redshirt freshman, performed very well against Ohio State and had another good game against Penn State. It's unfortunate, when you give up a penalty kick, it's not really down to the goalkeeper at that point. But yeah, there's been a lot of real bright spots as we mature this group. We've had to juggle the lineup for a number of different reasons. And then I think when you look at a 10-game season in soccer, usually we play 18 games. A shortened season, trying to make sure that you're balancing, of course, wins and losses, most important, but also maturing guys, knowing that this is a bit of a free year in that sense. We've become much stingier to play against. I think a hallmark of all the Badger teams in any sports here. And that's been some real positive growth. We've got to be good defensively. And I think we have. We've run up against some really top attacking players. And I told the guys the other day, we shut down a very good attacking team for most of the game against Penn State on the road, which is notoriously a tough place to play. So, performances is what we're looking at right now, and been pretty pleased. Our attack hasn't been perfect by any means yet, but we're making a lot of better plays, and you hope that the guys get rewarded. They did against Ohio State. We scored in the 86th minute to beat them at home, which was a great play. Noah Mielek and Mike Wampler combined to score the game-winning goal. So, that's what we're focused on as a staff, and just happy to see the guys out there competing, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Go to Brian Posick.
Hi, John. So as far as a potential postseason, Big Ten, NCAA, you've been playing with, beating, competing with some top-notch programs in the country. So what does the postseason look like as far as collegiate men's soccer right now?
Well, we just got off a Big Ten call. We are going to have 8 of our 9 men's teams in a conference tournament, starting with the quarterfinals the weekend of April 10th. That will go into a semifinal, final weekend. And then the NCAA will select 36 teams. A lot of conversation within the Big Ten of how our automatic qualifier is selected. You'd like to have it as the tournament champion. That's how we usually do it. If for some reason there's COVID-related issues, how do we make sure that the Big Ten is represented well? We're kind of on the other side. We're playing to get out of that 8-9, that 9th slot right now. We've got to get results this week. We're sitting on 4 points. Michigan State's on 6, and Northwestern's on 7. We've got 2 games. Destiny, as I told the guys, is still in our hands. We don't have to hope other teams don't perform well. If we can go out and do it on the field, then we've got a chance to get into the Big Ten tournament. And I think with the way we're playing, no one will want to see themselves drawn with us, regardless home and away. I think we're starting to be a group that you can depend on in those tough moments of a collegiate soccer game.
Go back to Paul.
Hey, John, can you just talk about, you said it is a big week, Michigan State and Michigan. Just give a little scouting report on each team.
They're both good. Michigan, I actually watched a little bit against Indiana. Very, very high level collegiate soccer team. I know they're going to be ready on Sunday. The bigger one for us is in East Lansing. Damon Rensing and his staff do a great job. I think they may be a bit like us. They're bleeding some new guys into the program. They probably had some guys that opted not to come back for whatever reason. And so I think it's going to be a typical Michigan State, Wisconsin game. It's going to be tight. It's going to be tough. I'm happy we're playing it outdoor at the Martin Stadium. It'll be a great environment for the players. It was amazing to see first the shift from the indoor facilities that we had to use to actually playing on the Reckwell field to now the shift to actually being in stadiums, for men's and women's soccer. And I'm sure Paula feels the same way. It started to feel real a couple weeks ago. And then it was interesting. The weather kind of was cooperating in the sense of it felt like Big Ten time, October type of weather. There's a little bit of wind. It's a little nip in the air. It's not spring yet. And I said, this could easily be October or early November when we're playing the business end of the season. And that's where we are right now. They're predicting 45 degrees and 10 to 20 mile an hour winds in East Lansing. Might as well be October 19th rather than March 30th or whatever the date is. I'm not sure.